Hello, my name is Belinda Silva, and today we'll be discussing how blockchain technology can disrupt the commercial real estate industry. First, we should ask ourselves, what is blockchain technology? The concept was first introduced in 2008 by Satoshi Nakamoto for use with cryptocurrencies, but the technology is being adopted in a variety of industries and businesses for several different processes. It is essentially a system or data structure in which a record of transaction are maintained in a digital ledger and shared in a peer-to-peer network of independent parties without a centralized authority. Each record is recorded as a block, which is time-stamped and encrypted, and blocks are linked to create chains of information. The individual users or nodes verify the information in a block, and then the block is given an identifying code called a hash. Once hashed, the block is added to the chain. Once data has been written into a blockchain, it is immutable, meaning the data cannot be changed without consensus. Blockchains establish trust and identity, which are two main factors needed in commercial real estate transactions. Commercial real estate transactions are complex, costly, and lengthy. While no two transactions are the same, each follows a basic 5-step process. Identify the asset, underwriting and due diligence, purchase and sale agreement and escrow, title management and transfer, and finally, closing and finalizing the settlement statement. We're going to look at each step in the process, discuss the problems with each step, and ways blockchain can alleviate the issues. The first step in the commercial real estate process is identifying the asset. Sources for commercial real estate listings are fragmented and inconsistent. Listings are typically held on high-cost subscription-based services or by costly brokers. The listings are highly variable based on the source, and the lack of standard details and format make comps very difficult to analyze. Blockchain can consolidate all listings from all sources in multi-listing services or MLS using peer-to-peer networks. It would make listings available to a broader audience and market where brokers can control the data with increased trust and reliability. Details for listings such as cost, square footage, occupancy, and market would be presented consistently to make identifying assets to purchase much more streamlined. The second step is underwriting and due diligence. This is where information about the asset is gathered and analyzed to project future performance and decide whether the asset would be a good purchase. This is the most important yet inefficient and costly step in the transaction. Diligent periods range from 60 to 120 days. Buyers and sellers gather and share information that is typically paper-driven. Documentation is heavily siloed by third parties. Surveys, environmental studies, property condition reports are manually verified, which increases the amount of administration work, which tends to increase errors and omissions. Blockchains can create asset identities, where all pertinent information about the asset is consolidated in digital form, which helps with consistency and alleviates the amount of administration work and reduces human error. It would store surveys, studies, construction details, CAD drawings and blueprints, maintenance history, occupancy metrics, and even books and records for accounting purposes. The third step in a commercial real estate transaction is signing the purchase and sale agreement and funding deposits with escrow agents. Again, this involves third-party arrangements. Once the buyer and seller agree on their interest in the exchange of the assets, a contract is signed where both parties accept the offer made and details the circumstances that need to be met before the sale is finalized. Deposits are held in escrow to be released when all the terms are met and the settlement is finalized. Occasionally, the escrow and title agent are the same. Lack of standardization allows for creative deal structures, but also increases risk for both parties. Manual paperwork is relied upon for identity verification. Due to the complexity of most transactions, legal counsel is obtained and can be very costly. With blockchain, smart contracts are utilized, which standardize the terms and language and minimize paperwork and reduce legal costs. The information exchange is traceable by leaving audit trails. The need to manually verify identities is minimized and solves the trust issues between parties. And lastly, as blockchain was initially created as a way to exchange funds peer-to-peer, the transfer of deposit would be processed efficiently. The fourth step is title management and transfer. Property titles are held and managed by title agents. Title outlines the legal status of an asset and related information about ownership, including zoning laws, property values, and liens held against the asset. Again, third-party involvement. There are high rates of inaccuracies and errors in title management and transfer, so much so that both buyers and lenders obtain title insurance policies to protect themselves from these errors. Lastly, both buyer and lender end up duplicating efforts in checking titles, which is highly inefficient. Blockchain streamlines and simplifies the title management and transfer process. Digital identities are verifiable, records are maintained to ensure accuracy and transparency and prevent fraud. The process of title checks and transfers are sped up as efficiency increases. Finally, once the buyer and seller have agreed to all terms, all conditions have been met, and funds have been verified, final documents and settlement statements are executed by both parties, and assets and cash are exchanged. In commercial real estate transactions, the buyer and seller are typically business entities or trusts. Verifying the person signing on behalf of the entity or trust is another manual process in which legal documents are exchanged to confirm signatory authority. Settlement statements are typically standardly formatted, but additional documentation varies as each transaction has different requirements. This allows for creative deal structures, but is very inefficient, and again, third parties are heavily involved. With blockchain, signatories are verified. Smart contracts promote efficiency and consistency. Transaction details are instantly accessible. Title and deeds are updated accurately. And lastly, funds are transferred. There are several companies already using blockchain technology to alleviate the inefficiencies in one or more steps in the real estate transaction cycle. A couple of those examples are Smart Realty, based in Seattle, which uses smart contracts to enact and maintain property purchases. Reezy, based out of Santa Monica, which is an end-to-end real estate transaction platform featuring secure and seamless escrow. And lastly, Harbor, based out of San Francisco, which is a compliance platform which tokenizes real estate assets, including private funds and REITs, for increased liquidity and transparency. In conclusion, the real estate industry relies heavily on third parties, manual paperwork, and identity verification. It makes exchanges of assets costly, overly complicated, and lengthy. By utilizing blockchain technology, the exchange of assets can be streamlined into one source for verifiable, consistent data to make information more reliable and comparable and more cost-effective. Thank you very much. Please let me know if I can answer any questions, and sources are cited on the last slide. Thank you.